Welcome to WinSouls TV again. This is your host, Bright Evangelist. If you want more content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and like this video. It encourages me to continue to create these, and then also share these videos. And if you want more content, look at the description down below. I have playlists with more adventures with the Lord and lessons that I've learned and lessons that He wants me to teach people about specific topics. Now, let's jump right on into it. This has everything to do with depression. So I will tell you guys a story, and then I will tell you what the Lord has taught me about it. There was a time period I had a girlfriend. I was 20 years old, and at this time period I was running wild. I was crazy, and but when I got with her though, everything was about her. So I remember I had gone to see her family, all of this jazz, come back. She went off to college, and we were doing the long distance thing. Anyway, there was a guy that she was interested in. She ended up cheating on me, and it really messed me up. Not only because that was the only situation that was going on, but the thing that happened was I had to deal with that. I had 5 classes that I was also dealing with. I had a job. I was fighting at the time. And then also my mom, and this is the thing that really just threw me over the top. My mom was going back and forth to the hospital, checking lumps in her breasts to find out if she had cancer. And so it was really it was like the worst time for that to happen, especially, you know, because that was kind of like my best friend at the time, or pretty close to it. So what happened was, it got so bad. I was extremely depressed. Even when I would go to sleep, it didn't start until I was depressed, but I started to develop acid reflux. Simply because my emotions were really affecting my body, and I could hear the acid coming up through my throat when I would go to sleep, and I would lie on my back at night, and it was bad, and that continued for about 2 years. 2 years of that, simply because I kept trying to run from the situation, involving other things in my life rather than actually facing that quiet time and facing the pain that I was going through. The Lord literally has us going through things for a specific purpose. And those specific purposes aren't necessarily to always feel happy, right? Life isn't necessarily about feeling happy. It's not about your feelings at all. It's not about your feelings at all. And so sometimes specific things happen in our lives so that we can grow closer, not only to Him, but growing closer to the individual that He has created us to be. And with that said, if you consistently run from an issue, if you consistently develop all kinds of ways not to be alone with the Lord, or all kinds of ways to start doing things with your time so that you don't necessarily think about the situation, so that you can overcome the situation in the right way, then what will happen is a false identity of you will be created. You will begin to move through life as if you are happy all the time and this, that, and the other. And I'm speaking because that literally happened to me. It happened to me, and I would go to work and I put on these little happy faces and this, that, and the other, and I was kind of like the life of the party. I was the individual that a lot of people wanted to be around, but the individual that they wanted to be around was a fake person. It was fake. It was false. I had created that identity because I was running from the very thing that I needed to embrace, and that was that silence. That was that silence. The fact that I didn't necessarily have that individual to talk to anymore, or the pain that I was running from. What happens is, and this is something that the Lord has taught me, is that we begin to move out of our soul versus being led of the Spirit. And even if we are reading the Word, we begin to adapt the principles of the Word to our lives without literally being Spirit-led of the Lord in our lives. So what happens is you begin to do these things on your own versus allowing the Lord to work in your life to change you. You see what I'm saying? And so with that said, you are moving out of what it is that you think is right versus embracing that time period to move through the Lord and allowing Him to change you versus you trying to change yourself. And here's a perfect example of that. Everybody has seen Finding Nemo, right? Everybody's seen it. So there's a part where they're still trying to find Nemo and they run across this school of fish. And this school of fish, they tell them, hey, you know, the place that wherever they were trying to go, I think they were going to the current so that they could, you know, ride the current with the turtles. And the school of fish told them, hey, well, you go this way, but you're gonna reach this trench, but don't go around or over the trench, go straight through the trench. So Dory and Nemo's dad get up to the trench, and it looks absolutely terrifying in there. I mean, you got dead bodies, I mean, dead fish bones and all kinds of stuff, you know. And they were just like, no, we going over this thing. We're going around this thing. We're going over this thing. We don't want anything to do with this thing because it looks scary. And so they go over it, and all of these jellyfish, they almost die from bumping into all of these jellyfish. The jellyfish could have killed them. And that's literally what is happening in this situation. Because of the fact that we don't necessarily want to go through go through that specific type of pain in order for the Lord to adapt you, to change you into the individual that He needs for you to be, then we'll find a way around it without actually dealing with the issue. And by not dealing with the issue, we suffer more pain than you can ever imagine. And then the Lord has to go back and fix that later in your life, which is exactly what He did to me. So don't allow that to happen. And don't allow specific things to happen in your life that you can prevent by allowing the Lord to come in and do His change. He is the provoker of all change. He knows where you need to be touched. But sometimes the specific areas that you need to be touched require silence. Not running from silence. They require silence. And then also they require you to embrace that silence. I'm not saying sit at home and soak in your sorrows, but what I'm saying is allow that quiet time with you and Him to change you. And during that specific time of anxiety and depression, literally embrace the moment. Embrace those specific thoughts that you are having about, you know, that specific individual or whatever it is that you're going in your life, what's going on in your life. But involve the Lord into those situations. Don't try to take them on yourself. So what I'm saying is cry out to the Lord during this specific time period, and He will set you free. And through that moment, you won't, after you have gone through that, you'll find that you have true joy and true happiness. It's not stemming from a specific place where it's just like, oh, I'm running from, you know, feeling bad, or I'm running from feeling angry, or I'm running from these specific emotions that make me feel uncomfortable. It's stemming from, you know what, I've rectified this situation. I've gone through this situation. The Lord has cleansed me in the situation, and He lives in those specific areas that I was hurting in. Now I wear these situations as if they're stripes, and I can be used to help other people through these specific situations now, because I have joy in that area. It doesn't trouble me. I have forgiven these specific people. I've gone through the depression and the pain, and now the Lord has patched all of those things up. He has picked me up, and now I'm this much closer to the individual that He needs for me to be. And it's such a blessing. Trust me. Trust me, when you allow that specific time, and it will change you. Allow it to change you. After a while, you'll become completely happy in that silence, because there is a lot of sound in silence. There is sound in silence. The Lord is always speaking. Take this for example. When you text somebody and they don't text back, that is a sound. And what do I mean by that? It's not an actual audible sound. What I'm saying is, through that silence, that is an answer to your question. Whether that person is busy, whether that person just doesn't want to hear from you, or whether they just don't have time to text you back, it's still an answer to your question. And so you can embrace that silence with the Lord. And He is always talking to His creation. You guys be blessed. I hope this is a blessing to you. But to all of those who are struggling with anxiety and depression, please embrace that moment. Embrace the Lord. Invite the Lord in this situation with you, and live in that moment with the Lord and allow Him to conquer it. And when I say bring the Lord into the situation, what I'm saying is pray. Pray and invite Him in and read your word and talk to Him about what you're feeling. Yes, He already knows, but talk to Him about it. Lord, I just don't understand why she do this to me, and this, that, and the other. I don't understand. Lord, it's going to take me time to forgive. And right now, I don't feel like forgiving. Let Him know how angry you are. Cast all of the worry and the pain that you're feeling, anger, rage, whatever it is, cast it on to the Lord, and do it day in and day out. Even if you have a busy schedule and you are going out and having fun with friends and this, that, and the other, that's not a problem. But also provide that silent time with Him, so that He can rectify those situations, and so that He can develop you and build you. You guys be blessed. I hope this has been a blessing to you. Comment down below and let me know what you guys are going through. And let me know what the Lord has brought you through. Have a good one.